Hey everybody, Ryan here at etrailer.com. Today on our 2019 Ford Explorer, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster automatic battery disconnect. Now there's going to be 5 main components needed to flat tow your Explorer down the road safely. One of them is going to be the base plate here, which provides us with a solid and reliable connection point to hook up our tow bar to. The tow bar is going to go from the base plate to the back of the motorhome. We're also going to have safety cables, which is a secondary connection just in case in the event of a catastrophic disconnect. The safety cables are going to keep everything connected together. We're also going to have wiring. Here we have diode wiring, and this is going to transfer the lighting signals from the back of the motorhome to the back of your Explorer so everyone can see and know your intentions as you go down the road. Lastly, we're going to have a braking system. Now the braking system is going to stop the Explorer using its own brakes instead of relying on the motorhome to slow it down. Since the Explorer requires you to disconnect your battery whenever you're flat towing, that's where the automatic battery disconnect switch is going to come in handy. As opposed to having to pop your hood, get your tools out, and physically disconnect the battery every time you want to leave, and not to mention reconnect it every time you want to drive your Explorer. The battery disconnect switch, all you're going to have to do to accomplish that is simply push a button. So just to give you an example right now, as you can see, if we turn our lights on, we're going to have power to the dash like we normally would, can honk our horn. Everything is powered up. Whenever we're ready to flat tow though, we simply push our button. And that's going to completely disconnect all of our power. Can't honk, our lights don't work, nothing comes on. Say we tow down the road, get to our campsite, and we want to take the Explorer for a spin. All you simply have to do is push your button again, give the car a second to kind of think and wake up, and we'll again have full power. So the way the battery disconnect works is really simple. What we're going to do is more or less put it in between our main power cable and our battery itself. So the battery power will run over to the disconnect solenoid, and the switch that we push inside of the car is going to control that power. So say if the solenoid is in the off position or the switch is in the off position, it's going to stop this power right here and not transfer it to the main wire that powers up our car. However, when we turn it on, that solenoid in there is going to create a complete connection, sending power back through the other wire to the main power wire that controls our car. Now, one thing I do recommend picking up is a battery terminal like this, because the OEM one doesn't work quite right and makes it a little bit difficult to get installed. With a terminal like this, makes it really easy. Now speaking of installation, it's really not going to be too bad. Most of the wires are labeled and everything's pretty straightforward. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and hook it up together now. To begin your install, you're first going to want to find a spot to mount up your solenoid, and you need to do it within reach of the battery because our cables are going to run over that way. So in our particular case, you don't have a ton of spots to choose from, but I did find a spot right here, kind of in front of our shock tower. And I just secured the solenoid down using the included self-tapping tech screws. Now we can start to hook up all of our cables. So what we're going to do first is remove this hot wire that comes to the battery. We'll take a 10mm and pop that off. Then we're actually going to remove this whole terminal. Get that loosened with the 10 as well. And pull this off. Now what we're going to do is actually get rid of this side of the terminal. So what I mean by that, right after the stud, we're just going to cut this. That way we can connect our battery disconnect cable to it. And then we're going to come up with a way to use a different terminal here to get the other side of the battery disconnect all hooked up. Now that this is cut, what we can do is take the cable here from our solenoid that says battery cable, as well as this factory red one that we disconnected, and we are going to slide those onto the post. Switch these around. Actually, I'll do the battery cable first, and then that factory cable. You can just take the nut that we took off and get these tightened back down. Now the way we're going to hook up our battery post cable coming from our solenoid is by using an additional terminal. And you can find this terminal here at etrailer.com. So what we're going to do, let's get this terminal put in place. That simply just pushes on top of the battery. Kind of angle it. That way we can have a nice straight shot here for our cable. And once we find that spot, we can come in and tighten down our nut. From there, we can loosen up this wing nut here and slide our battery post cable over this stud. Now, come to find out that this stud is a little too large for this to slide over, so what I'll do is just grab a drill bit and very carefully enlarge this hole just a little bit. That way we can just slide that cable in right over the stud. Now we can take this white wire that comes off of our solenoid and turn this into a ground. So what we're going to do is strip back some of the insulation. That wire twist. We're going to connect a ring terminal to it. Crimp it down. We're just going to put this right on the negative side of the battery. So we'll loosen up this nut here with a 10. Take that off. Just slide our ring terminal over it and run the nut back down. There's going to be a gray wire coming off of our solenoid, and this will get connected to a switch inside of our vehicle. So we got to get this gray wire to the inside of our car. So what I've done is found a grommet kind of underneath the vehicle. And so you're going to take that gray wire and just drop it straight down to the bottom side along our firewall. So here underneath the vehicle, you can see where this gray wire drops down and where it kind of comes into the body of the vehicle right here on this side. So if we move to our driver's side floorboard and we peel our carpet back a little bit, you can see that grommet that we ran our gray wire through. Now once we have it through there, we need to run it towards the outside of the vehicle or towards a door. So what you can do is just lift up that black matting material and run your wire underneath it. And then it'll just come out on the other side of it. And from there, you can run your gray wire up and into this side compartment here. Now usually there's a little plastic cover that sits over that area. To take that off, you simply just grab your hand, get behind it, and pop it out. So now we can get our gray wire ready. And what I mean by that is there's actually a red and a black wire combined in the gray wire. So you peel that insulation off and it'll expose the red and black wire. Then we can strip back the insulation on each end. And what we're going to do is take the nut off of our switch, put that on, and what I've actually done here is taken this panel and drilled a small hole in it, big enough for our switch just to fit through. So we'll run the wires through that hole. And then we can connect them to the terminals on our switch. So the way this is going to work, we can take a small screwdriver and loosen up the set screws. And we can feed our wires in. Now it doesn't matter which color goes to which side, so you can hook them up whichever way is the most convenient for you. So you slide that wire through there and then tighten that set screw back down. Same thing with the other one. That push through and snug down. So you have them snug. What I kind of like to do is just take that extra wire that's poking through and just kind of fold it over on itself. We can work that switch through the hole. Come around to the back side, take the nut and run that down to keep that switch secure. So now we can pop our panel back in place. And then go back under the hood. That way we can install a fuse and then test everything and make sure it's working properly. So back under the hood, come to our fuse holder, open the cap up, take our included fuse, pop it into place, close the dust cover, and we can go back inside, test it to make sure it's working. So right now we should have no power at all to our car. So I'll try to honk the horn, start it, turn our lights on. We have absolutely nothing. When we push our button, we should then have full power to our car. So our dash is lighting up, our dome lights are on, you can beep the horn, that's working. So we know the battery disconnect is functioning properly. Now that we verified everything is working, I went ahead and put our battery terminal cover back on, as well as taped up the bare wire ends that we had here that were exposed. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster automatic battery disconnect on our 2019 Ford Explorer.